Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. However you're listening to my voice, I appreciate it. We're going to be talking about WWE Smackdown, Raw, NXT Spring Breakin. But before that, we're going to dive into a few topics that I thought was just interesting involved in the world of pro wrestling in the last few days since I've talked to you, I guess in the last 24 hours, really. One, AEW, former world champion coming back. Kenny Omega is coming back next week on Dynamite. I don't know why. I guess it's leaked or something. I don't know why it wasn't mentioned just tomorrow night on Dynamite, but they did announce it, and I'm for one, I'm pretty excited about it as I'm trying to get my levels here. We're also going to be talking about Jake Lee, former All Japan Triple Crown champion, former GHC World Champion in Noah, shows up in New Japan and looks like he has his sights on the former IWGP champion Naito. This to me is more interesting than putting the title on Moxley. Having the World Championship, the IWGP World Championship, become like a mid-card title in AEW isn't as cool as the biggest free agent of last year, signing to Noah, and then a year later popping up in New Japan. To me, that just kind of tintillates my interests more so than just Jon Moxley winning the title. I don't know. That's just how I see it. But that's not all we're here to talk about. We're here to review some wrestling shows, but we also have to talk about some WWE releases here. 7 that I know about as far as right now. There could be more. Jinder Mahal apparently quit. I just listened to his interview with Chris Van Fleet today. That was pretty good. Veer and Shanky gone as well. Veer, I thought he had something there. I mean, they never really showcased him too much, but I mean, there was a start and stop push that I think hurt him. Shanky, I know he got over with the dancing, but that was not, that you need more than dancing. Xia Li, I thought they were going to keep her around. She had a cool entrance. She was cool in NXT, but she didn't really fit on the main roster. Kind of like Xia Quinn, I would say the same thing with him. He passed the airport test, but we really didn't see him passing many other tests other than that. Von Wagner, I mean, he's a big guy. He's got some size. I don't know why they didn't just bring him up just to do some house shows and stuff. Speaking of house shows, a guy who's been on a lot of house shows here in the last few months, Cameron Grimes got released. This hits home for me. I remember in 2013, I was given my first PWG DVD from a guy I went to college with. And I was watching the DVD. The first match ever was Andrew Everett versus Cedric Alexander versus Trevor Lee, who later became Cameron Grimes. 3 North Carolina boys flew all the way to LA to tear the house down. It filled me with pride. And as I was telling some old heads, if you will, about this great match on PWG, they were telling me about this guy up the road at CWF Worldwide who was killing it, so to speak, was the man, had all the right tools to make it in wrestling. And it took us a little bit, but we realized we were talking about the same man. We were talking about Trevor Lee. Myself being an internet mark, they being lifelong fans of wrestling in the Mid-Atlantic. It's crazy how he was, hitting all those buttons at one time. And, then he made a name for himself in AEW for a little bit, signed to Impact, made his way to NXT. I remember the local paper having a big story about him when he went to NXT. And now 5 years later, he gets released after a cup of coffee in the main roster. Very disappointing. He put out a video today that kind of crushed a lot of people as I saw the replies and everything. But what would be the next move for him? As far as I'm concerned, I'd like to see him in New Japan. as much as it would be cool to see him in Impact, as much as Impact has changed in the last 5 years, I do feel like that would be kind of a step backwards, where New Japan needs a guy like Cameron Grimes, needs a guy that's got that WWE star power, but doesn't have we signed him because he just got released from WWE stench on him, like I think Dolph Ziggler, Matt Riddle, and I don't know. It seems like they're hot-shotting a lot of North American talent, but they need some North American talent that could be their own. And I think Cameron Grimes might be able to be theirs, so to speak, if he's willing to, go to Japan and everything like that. But let's jump over to the week that was in WWE programming. I honestly am I'm feeling this a little bit. I'm getting bummed out. I bummed myself out thinking about the Cameron Grimes release. But Smackdown, Paul Heyman apologizes to Solo for not being able to find Kevin Owens. Solo pretty much ignores him and comes out to the ring. This was, like a well done camera shot. Started in the back and made their way all the way to the arena. One shot. Solo getting booed. Had to lose a brother to find a new one. Calling him an MFT, and then KO comes out thrown out of ringside bleeding. Tama Tonga comes out and just stands next to Solo. Tama Tonga takes out Kevin Owens, puts his one up, and then Solo slowly puts his one up as well. That's the one thing that the Bloodline does so well, is make everything seem like a moment. Everything seems non-rehearsed. I love the Bloodline here. It's best thing going in wrestling, and they both attack Kevin Owens. Officials come out. Solo hits the spike to Kevin Owens, and then they stand over top of him on the ramp, or they stand, on top of the ramp celebrating. And this time, even Paul Heyman puts his one up, but keeps his eyes on Solo. He's shook a little bit. He doesn't know what to think of what looks to be the new tribal chief, if you will. Paul did a great job conveying his nervousness here. He was the biggest star out there, and I think that he had to deliver on the facials, and he did. AJ Styles versus LA Knight, Mania rematch for a shot at the Undisputed title. Phenomenal forearm, 1, 2, 3. AJ wins. So we have AJ versus Cody in France. Should be a great match. Waller and Theory are out there with Nick Aldis and Triple H. Hunter tells them something that we all kind of know, that they're going to be the WWE Tag Team Champions, revealing the new titles. They look kind of like the old school Attitude Era tag belts, which I'm all for. Triple H goes for a handshake, and they turn around and handshake each other instead. Nick Aldis gets in their face and says, "Hey, motherfuckers, if you're going to fuck with Triple H, you're fucking with me." And they kind of back down. New titles look great. AOP versus New Catch Republic versus Legado versus the Street Profits for a number one contender match. Tyler Bate scooping up AOP. Doomsday Blockbuster from the Profits. Humberto and Garza flying around low down into a cutter combination. 1, 2, 3. The Street Profits get the victory, and this was a great fucking match. Damage Control hanging out on the box seats. Jade and Bianca up there hanging out in the box seats right next to them. They're bickering back and forth. I mean, they're changing things up there, and I haven't seen, a shot like this in a while. Bayley and Naomi brawling, rear view. Bayley goes up for an elbow. Naomi gets her knees up, and then Tiffany Stratton cuts them both off and hits the prettiest moonsault ever to both wrestlers at the same damn time. And it looks like she's putting, her nose into the champ and Naomi's business on SmackDown. I think this is good. I mean, she was super over in Australia. They kind of kept her at bay during WrestleMania season. And then now that WrestleMania season's over, let's start making this star Tiffany Stratton. Wherever she goes, I want to see a division put around her. Put Becky with the new title, or we'll get to that a little later, in there. Then put Tiffany Stratton, and then put a bunch of jabronis, and then have a collision course with Tiffany and Becky, much like you did a collision course on Raw the past year with Becky and Rhea. And set up next year's Mania, I think. where am I here? Where am I in my notes? I'm looking around and I see that Carlito and Santos, they had a match, and Santos wins. It was pretty cool. Solid episode of SmackDown, but I do feel the post-Mania lull, especially while it seems that they are just kind of waiting around for this new draft here. But going over to Raw, the biggest news leaving the show was, I already spoiled it, the new champ. Who is it going to be? The women's champion, since Rhea Ripley is injured. We had a battle royal here with Becky Lynch, Candice LeRae, Chelsea Green, Indy Hartwell, Ivy Nile, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, Liv Morgan, Maxine Dupree, Natalya, Nia Jax, Piper Niven, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Starks. I like the spot with Nia and Piper. That was kind of cool. Candice and Indy getting thrown out by Maxine. A little payback for how rude they were being towards her the past few weeks. And then Maxine gets gully, as they used to say, standing up to Nia after or before getting tossed out. Chance and Carter are great. I want to see more of them. Piper being a sore loser, attacking Becky Lynch after Becky Lynch threw her out. And then Nia picks up Piper and throws her on top of Becky Lynch on the announcer's desk. Chelsea getting thrown out, but the refs are too busy tending to Becky Lynch to see it, so she hops back on the apron, and then she gets thrown out again. So she gets thrown out twice in the same battle royal because she was trying to bullshit. You gotta love that. And then looking over here, I'm seeing, we had the final four, or what appears to be the final four. Nia, Liv, Baszler, Zoe. Nia throws out Baszler and Zoe, but then Becky Lynch comes in the ring. Things get sloppy with Nia and Liv, of course, of course. The double team to Nia takes her out, and then we have Liv versus Becky. Twitter wanted Liv. Booking at this point kind of implies that Becky's going to win after she got attacked and comes back in the ring. Battling on the apron, Becky hits a Uranagi and gets the win. And then we have a new women's world champion, Becky Lynch. I'm stoked on this. I love this. I saw people comparing Becky Lynch to Hogan. Kind of saying that she doesn't ever let the young guys, the young women get the victory over her, which, I don't think she really gives a shit about that. But I would hate to see the title on Liv. Her work rate is trash compared to Becky Lynch. She's not as big of a star as Becky Lynch. Putting the title on Becky Lynch is a tent pole for the whole division, and I think that this reign is going to be a lot better that Becky holds it, regardless of how short it is. And it makes sense. It was Becky versus Rhea at WrestleMania anyways, so she was obviously like the next in line for the championship if it couldn't be on Rhea. But that's what I think. There's a lot of Liv stans. I get it. She's an attractive woman. It's cool that she smokes weed and everything, but at the same time, she can't go like Becky can go. You're fooling yourself if you think she can. Damian Priest out there with Jay. Damian here cutting a promo here says, "You're just the first in a list of people that the machine feeds me to make sure this looks good on me." That was a little bit inside baseball there, I think, but talking shit. But I don't think he's lying. I do think that is the truth of what this is going to be. This match is going to be here in Backlash. Jay versus Damian Priest. I don't think Jay is winning at Backlash at all. But Jay does kind of convince me here. Jay said the only reason he's the leader of Judgment Day is because Rhea Ripley got hurt. Yeet. You're getting fed to me because I am next. JD comes out, tries to attack Jay. Jay ends up super kicking Damian because McDonough ducks and the champion eats a kick. I thought this was kind of slick. Later on that night, Andrade and Ricochet versus JD and Escobar. Escobar picking Ricochet out of the sky. That was kind of cool. and then throws Ricochet on his partner. Andrade takes advantage. 1, 2, 3. JD takes another L. A frustrated Priest comes out and attacks both winners and leaves them laying. Chad Gable here, though, says it should have been him at Mania winning, but he was too busy training Sami Zayn, and says that he's tired of wasting his time training a bunch of losers. Running down to Zawa, then Maxine, and then even Otis. This was rough to watch, but Chad Gable is great here. No matter what, he says that the focus should be on Gable from this point out, and I guess that they're turning, the whole faction is turning on Sami Zayn here, so we'll have to see what goes down. Tag team champions, Awesome Truth take on DIY. A lot of Ohio in this ring for the Ohio Raw. Ciampa hits a pedigree, so we have Hunter with the move, Rollins and Cody do the move, and now Tommaso Ciampa do the move. That's too many people, I think, that do the move, but only one team does the TCF, and that's the champions, and they get the 1, 2, 3. Gunther and Woods out there, both men want to become the king of the ring. This leads to a match between the New Day and Imperium. New Day gets the win, solid match, but what happens after the match is what I want to talk about. Gunther is pissed, looks at Ludwig, and then leaves, and Ludwig knows what we know now, why he gave him that look, and that's because he was taking out Vinci, throwing him into the LED board, kicking him while he was draped over the metal steps. And I guess, people are saying that Vinci might go back to NXT and get kind of a fresh coat of paint. But right now, Imperium, only 2 men. Sheamus is back. He is out there with Drew McIntyre. Sheamus trying to talk some sense into Drew, saying that he got his ass beat by a one-armed CM Punk at Mania, which is what happened. Drew says that before Sheamus was there, he was having banger after banger, but it looks like now he's having burger after burger. Sheamus does have that Kota Ibushi post-injury look to him, not as chiseled as he used to be. And then Sheamus takes on Kota Ibushi's former Wrestle Kingdom opponent, Shinsuke Nakamura. White noise off the top, 1, 2, no. Bro kick dodged, roll up, 1, 2, no. Spin kick, Sheamus dodges it. Big knee, 1, 2, no. Bro kick, 1, 2, 3. Sheamus gets the victory. Solid match here. Sammy got attacked last week by Chad Gable. Gets attacked by Bronson Reed this week. Come on, Sammy. Ken Doane, formerly of the Spirit Squad, broke up the attack here, and it was cool to see Ken Doane have a job. I didn't know that he was involved with WWE. That guy had a fantastic indie run a few years ago. Some stuff is interesting here, but like I said before, you definitely feel that WrestleMania lull, especially a week before the draft. Going into the show tonight, WWE NXT Spring Breakin, Adam Pearce, Nick Aldis, and Ava, the GM Johnson out there. Trick Williams coming into the building, Dragunov coming into the building for their big main event. Lola Valkyria, Tatum Paxley, and the champ Roxanne Perez out there. Valkyrie powerbombs 2 opponents at the same damn time. Fisherman Brainbuster 1, 2. Roxanne breaks it up. Perez locks in a crossface. Tatum locks in a crossface to Perez. And then Lyra Valkyrie, the recipient of the initial crossface, breaks it up. I thought that spot was pretty cool. Tatum rolls up Valkyria, and then goes up top, hits a 450. 1, 2. Roxanne not only breaks up the pin, but rolls up the lady who just hit the 450. 1, 2, 3. Champ steals one, retains, and Paxley turning on the woman she is obsessed over to try to win gold here at Spring Breakin'. This was a great match. Women's locker room always bickering at each other, always going at it. New tag team debuting next week. Creed brothers are there to catch the main event. NXT Battleground will be at the UFC Apex, a small venue in Las Vegas, more or less just like this place that they wrestle in Orlando, but it's going to be in NXT. I think that's kind of an interesting little joint promotion thing here. Of course, UFC and WWE under that same TKO banner now. So this is pretty interesting. The D'Angelo family versus the No Quarter Catch crew. First time really catching David Kemp. He's good. Don getting the upper hand, going for the forget about it. But they chop block him. They bring him down. Regain control. The family hit the big rig, stealing FTR's move here on NXT. Then the Don hit a spine buster, 1, 2, 3, solid match. Lexis King comes out, back to relevancy, and gives Baron Corbin a goodbye gift basket. A very weird thing for a wrestler to give another wrestler. Corbin not impressed, and we'll get a match later because of it. The two ladies that were bickering in the back that I alluded to earlier were Jada Parker and Fallon Henley. The NXT women's division has a lot of depth, and I do have to say, so much depth that I have a hard time keeping up with all these ladies, but this was a good match. Her hair falls off, and she doesn't give a fuck. She still gets the win. Jada Parker with the victory, impressing me here. So I would say the two people that I was pretty impressed by, that I haven't really caught my eye before, was what's that name? Kemp from the No Quarter Catch crew, and then Jada Parker here. JC Jane cut a promo, and yeah, she's been on NXT for quite a while, but I thought this was great delivery. She's pissed at Hale. Lola Vice and Natty Neidhart out there. Great video package. And this is pretty good. The NXT Underground, the concept didn't work on Raw a few years ago, but it's kind of a different landscape. We have the blood sport in the indies, and you kind of have two, fighters here. Someone with a shoot background like Lola Vice and Natty Neidhart, coming up from the dungeon, the last wrestler for the dungeon. I'm pretty excited about this. JD McDonough there for the main event. Along with New Catch Republic. Ava brings out the competitors from NXT Underground. They bicker at each other back and forth. It's not really a contract signing. I don't know what's going on. Natty has her second, but who's going to be Lola's second? It's going to be the former NXT Women's Champion, girl fresh off of Bloodsport, fresh off of this Battle Royal on Raw, Shayna freaking Baszler. Ridge Holland getting fucked with by Ty Dillinger in the back. Final Testament video package. Not a bad video package, but I guess they are appearing on NXT. They're going to, come to NXT. The tag division is shook here. They're all talking about it, and then when they're talking about it, a mirror falls. So I don't know if this is some foreshadowing here. This whole division is getting bad luck at one time because AOP is coming. Blair Davenport versus Sol Roca. The Beach Brawl match, a WWE holiday themed plunder match. We've all seen it before with, the Christmas, the Thanksgiving, the Halloweens. They have this ridiculous match with these weapons, and the weapons are themed. So this is a spring break themed show. So this was a spring break themed plunder match. It was okay. Standing moonsault with the boogie board was my highlight. Sola Roca kind of goes through a picnic table at one point. She hits a crazy flip off the top rope cutter thing. It looked like it was like the Cody cutter, only instead of just springing back, she sprung into a 450 or something. 1, 2, 3, Solo Roca gets the victory here. And then Trick on the phone with his mom, getting motivated for tonight. Johnny Gargano motivates him a little more. And before the main event, though, we get another match, Lexis King versus Baron Corbin. This show kind of dragged a little bit. I gotta be honest, I was here for the main event. We should have just gone right to it. I don't know. Or there was a lot of the contract signing, the plunder match, Lexis King and Baron Corbin. None of this stuff really excited me, so I was kind of bored until the main event here. But Lexis King versus Baron Corbin. When did Baron Corbin get this back tat? King tries to cheat, putting his feet on the ropes, but gets caught. Corbin able to get advantage. 1, 2, no, but then King hits a low blow like the son of a bitch he is. 1, 2, 3, Lexis King gets the victory. So I guess they are bringing Baron Corbin up to the main roster again. because I don't think I would have him lose like this if he was staying in the on this show. So I think this is kind of a thing like trying to bring Lexis King back to relevancy and then sending Corbin to SmackDown or Raw. The main event here, world title match, Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams, title versus NXT career, most over versus possibly the best NXT champion of all time, crowd chanting whoop that Trick. Constantine's special lariat 1-2 no sunset flipped looked odd, bad. Trick falls on Ilya's chest here. That was kind of a little bit of a scary moment. But Dragunov hits a powerbomb right after and then goes coast to coast. Ilya off the top rope. Trick counters. Trick drops an H-bomb on the H-bomber. 1-2 no. Torpedo Moscow 1-2 no. Champs gets hit with a bit of his own medicine these past few moves. Battling on the outside, Uranagi off the rail through the announcer's desk. Back in the ring, H-bomb from the champ, 1-2 no. Another H-bomb. Ilya struggles but gets the pin, 1-2 no. Williams fires back here. NXT Universe believes. Trick shot, 1-2-3. Trick Williams becomes the new NXT champion. Ilya can't believe it, rips the title from the referee, looks at it one last time before giving it to Trick Williams, something he doesn't want to let go, but has to let go because he respects Trick so much. Trick celebrating in the crowd. This was nuts. The crowd loved it. Great visual coming off, going to, whatever USA was showing after NXT. And I think this is great. So I think the two, looking at the draft, I think that Corbin's going. I think that Ilya is going to the draft. And, we have AOP and Killer Cross coming back to NXT. And I bet Vinny Vinci's coming back to NXT. And I bet Tiffany Stratton is going to be on the same show as Becky Lynch. These are, I don't know why I think these things, but this is what I think. And let me know what you think down below in the comments or however you're listening to this. Call me up. Call me up at 33. No, I'm not going to give you my number. Just joking. Fly high. I'm out.